Magandang hapon po. Dito kami sa programa Iparas kay Paras. At kami ay bumabati sa ating mga kababayan na hanggang ngayon naghihirap pa rin sa kanilang pamumuhay, sa kanilang pag-cope up ng kanilang day-to-day. Dahil hanggang ngayon, wala pa rin pagbaba ang mga presyo ng bilihin. Isang taon na mahigit itong Pangulong Marcos Macoy Jr. ay hindi pa rin na-address ang hirap ng ating mga kababayan. So, mga kababayan, dito po kami sa ating programa. Kasama ko si Mr. Ado Paglinawan.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat sa mga parte ng mundo kayo naroroon. Isang mabunying pagbati sa inyo.
Mga kababayan, kamakailan lamang ay nagsalita na ang ating dating Pangulo. Kung matantandaan ninyo, he is a very popular president during his time and even now. Kung magpa-survey lang tayo, ay lamang na lamang pa ang popularity ng ating dating Pangulo kaysa dito sa ngayong kasalukuyang Pangulo. At yan ay mapuprubahan natin kung pasubo natin ang mga survey rating entities, no? Pero that's not the issue here. The issue is ang ating Pangulo ay nag-question siya tungkol sa paggamit ng mga pondo ng gobyerno. Kinwestiyon yung kanyang anak doon sa confidential fund na nanggaling naman ang pera kay Marcos doon sa kanyang contingent fund. So, ngayon, mukhang mukhang nagagalit ang Kongreso kay Duterte at mukhang mayroon silang resolution na hinahain. So, yun po, mga kababayan, nagalit na ang Kongreso dahil sa pagsita ng ating mahal na dating Pangulo tungkol sa kanilang pondo. Kinwestiyon nila yung pondo ng mga kaliwa, yung pondo ni Sara, binalikan naman sila ni Pangulong Duterte kung yung kanila namang mga pondo ay na-audit ba. At doon parang nagalit ang mga ibang mga miyembro ng Kongreso at ito sa kanilang expression na galit sila kay Pangulong Duterte at nag-ahain sila ng resolusyon. Walang iba kundi ito si Congressman Abante at saka itong isang party list congressman na never heard yung pangalan. Siguro yung sumasakay, yung nagda-drive lang ng tricycle or motor ang nakakilala nito. Itong congressman na ito. So, ito pakita po natin itong resolution itong dalawang congressmen na hinihikayat nila ang mga departments or government offices na makipagtulungan sa International Criminal Court at para usigin ang tinatawag nilang war on drugs na wala namang ibang pinapatamaan dito kung hindi ang dating Pangulong President Duterte.
Lawmakers urged the Marcos Jr. administration to cooperate with an international probe of the Duterte government's bloody drug war. The appeal is contained in a resolution filed by the House Human Rights Committee Chair Bienvenido Abante and Party List Representative Ramon Gutierrez. It is the second House resolution that calls on the government to cooperate with the International Criminal Court. The resolution says the Philippine government showed respect for the ICC proceedings and the rule of international law when it initially asked the ICC to defer its investigation. It also notes the Philippine Supreme Court acknowledged the ICC's jurisdiction over alleged crimes against humanity that may have occurred in the Philippines while it was a member state. Philippine President Marcos Jr. and other justice officials earlier said the government will not cooperate with the ICC probe since the Philippines withdrew in 2019 from the treaty establishing the ICC.
Unang-una, sino ba itong dalawang kengkoy na congressman na naghain ito? Ako, I would doubt if ang ating speaker dyan, na matino na speaker, ay sinasanction ito. Kung sino man ang nag-utos nitong Abante na ito ay very highly questionable. Kasi it's impossible to come out with a resolution kung sila ay naniniwala sa liderato ni President Marcos. Nagsalita na si Marcos. Ito pong sinasabi ni Marcos. Ito.
Because hindi na tayo pwedeng appeal. The appeal has failed, and in our view, there's nothing more that we can do in the government, and so at this point, we essentially are disengaging from any contact, from any communication, I guess, with the ICC. We don't have a next move. That is the extent of our involvement with the ICC. We cannot cooperate with the ICC considering the very serious questions about their jurisdiction and about what we consider to be interference and practically attacks on the sovereignty of the Republic.
So, Palingado, anong masasabi mo dyan sa sinasabi ni President Marcos?
Well,
sige.
Unang-una, si Congressman Abante, napakababaw naman dito. Ang iniisip lang niya, mamulitika. There is no better position that what has already been adopted by President Duterte and is now being supported by President Marcos. Bakit? Iniisip lang nila yung mga high profile. Paano naman yung mga ordinaryong citizen that are being protected by our law, no? Klarong-klaro na we have a functioning judicial system dito sa ating bansa. And walang karapatan ang anumang international body na makialam sa ating internal judicial processes.
And mga kababayan, kung patubayan natin or tingnan natin kung sino itong nag-file nitong or naghain nitong resolution na hikayatin ang mga government agency na magkipagtulungan sa ICC. Itong kaibigan ko ito si Bishop. He calls himself Bishop Abante. Tingnan mo kung anong pinagsasabi nito against the ICC nung magkakailan pa lang. Kaya very obvious na mayroong nagtutulak sa kanya as to anong halaga or anong
kapalit.
Anong kapalit hindi natin alam, no? Pero ito, pakinggan natin ito si Abante. Couple of months or a year ago, ito yung sinasabi niya, nilalabanan niya yung ICC. Kasi sumisip-sip siya dati kay President Duterte. Ito, sinasabi ng DCWB, nilalabas nila yung dating pinagsasabi nitong si Abante. Ngayon, representative atras na ito. Kasi dati, umaabante siya, ngayon umaatras. Ito, nung umaabante pa siya dati, ito yung sinasabi niya. Hindi natin kailangan ang ICC to meddle in our alleged crimes na nangyari sa ating borders. Kung may mga innocent victims sa war on drugs, just prosecute the offenders. So, ibig niya sabihin, let the local courts, at totoo naman, yung mga pumatay kay Kian, ay na-prosecute naman at nakulong naman. Ito pa, sinasabi ng DCWB, sabi din ito ni Abante, we should not sacrifice sovereignty for justice. That is exactly what Marcos is also saying. So, mga kababayan,
Atras Abante na tayo.
kaya tamang-tama itong pangalan ni Abante. Ngayon, Congressman atras na ito kasi umaatras siya sa dati niya mga sinasabi. Alam mo, Benny, with due respect, we've been together in Congress. Pero minsan makakawala tayo ng respeto kasi alam na naman natin na kung sa Bisaya pa yan, bay, giduslitan lang ng imong likod o kalayo. That's why ni Abante ka. Pero in reality, you are really congressman atras. Ha? So, ngayon, ultimo, Senado, kasi joint resolution yan eh. The House cannot do it by itself. So, this resolution that they have passed, if ever that will be approved, but I doubt if Speaker, ako, ang presumption ko doon sa ginagawa nitong Abante na si Congressman atras na ngayon, ay walang sanction ito ni Speaker. Kasi I think but common sense, Ado, the Speaker has so much respect for the President who already made a pronouncement. Alam nga naman, ang Pangulong Marcos, si Macoy, siya yung may tangay ng lahat ng mga ahensya. So, kung mayroong resolution ang Kongreso, tapos nagsalita na si Marcos, sampal sa mukha ni Marcos ito kung susundin niya ito. It runs into his credibility when he already made full statement as far as ICC's jurisdiction over our country is concerned. Di ba?
Alam nga naman na si Speaker Martin Romualdez ang umatras sa sinabi ng kanyang pinsan.
No,
Hindi
na
ba?
nirespeto. I don't think, ito, gawa-gawa lang ni Abante. Ito siguro baka lumipat na si Abante dito sa mga kaliwa dyan. Ha? Kasi alam ko dati, minority leader ito eh. Ha? Pero minority leader, being the minority which was considered as company union. Minority elected by the majority. Yun ang, nung minority leader pa to, he was a minority elected by the majority. So, parang sinasabi natin, it's a company union. Benny, pare, ano ba naman nag-uudyok sa iyo dyan sa kalukuhan na yan? Ha? Nagbumuka ka tuloy yung kengkoy ngayon sa taong bayan, pare. Now, even the sister of the president, pakinggan natin si Ginang Amy Marcos.
Amy.
Inatabangan sa ginagawa ninyo.
Ang laking kahihiyan talaga sa Pilipinas kapag pumasok yung ICC na yan. Tayong papayat-payat ng ganyan. Yung ating mga korte, tibay-tibay, pinalaya na si Senator Denisa. Hindi ba katibayan yun na maayos yung korte at talagang umaandar ang dumikat nila? Hindi ko alam. Kayo ang nasa Congress, kayo ang nakikinig sa iba't ibang departamento. Yung mga principal, yung kapatid ko, ako, si Vice President Sara, si PRRD, palagay ko hindi naman problematic. Yung iba na nanggugulo dyan, ewan ko nila.
Tingnan mo, yung kapatid mismo na popular na senadora, sinasabing sa inyo, Benny, kayo yata ang nanggugulo dyan eh. Maayos yung unity team, pero ginugulo nyo. Nagsalita na ang ating dating Pangulo, ang Pangulo na okay sila ng mga Duterte, okay sila sa Sara. Ha? Hindi niya papayagan na gagalawin si Sara Duterte. Pero kayo, sabi ni Jaime, ginugulo nyo dyan. And I don't think the Speaker is aware of what you're doing. Ha? Kasi, hindi naman gawain ni Speaker ito na susuwayan niya yung kanyang pinsan na nagsalita na. Even ang best friend or kaibigan ni Speaker Romualdez na si Boying Remulla, nagsalita na rin. Dati na ito, pakinggan natin si Remulla tungkol dito sa ICC.
They can decide in The Hague where the ICC is. But that does not affect us here. They cannot enforce anything that they want in our country because we are not members of the ICC. We're just trying to work with them in a spirit of committee. But if things happen as they do, if they will be adverse against us, so be it.
So, yan, they don't affect us according to Remulla. They have no jurisdiction over us. And even the Supreme Court has the final say on this. Because, the Supreme Court is the bastion of the justice system. The judiciary is functioning. All our courts are functioning. So how could an outside court such as an ICC interfere with the war on drugs, which are already being investigated? It's pending in courts. So how can they intercede or interfere with the judicial process that is already ongoing? Kaya sabi ni Senator Ivy, nakakahiya tayo sa Pilipinas.
Gumugulo lang.
We don't see eye to eye with each other. Sinasabi ng Pangulo, ito. Sinasabi ng kanyang Justice Secretary, ito. Sinasabi naman ng mga kingkoy dyan na nagsain ng resolution na hikayatin ang mga departamento. Ito mga departamento ay tangay ito ng dating Pangulong Marcos. So, what is this guys talking about? And you have to contend with the Senate. Oh. So, alam mo, mga kababayan, with due respect, this is an exercise in futility.
Oo.
Ang
Ang tawag ko dyan, WOT, waste of time.
It's a waste of time. And alam mo, this is a very dangerous attempt.
May risk,
Because Duterte is very well loved by the people. It might create a hornet's nest. It might be the rallying point of the people and the military maybe. Lalo na mahal si Duterte ng mga military. In the history of the Philippines, only Rodrigo Duterte has recognized the plight of the uniformed personnel, especially the armed forces of the Philippines and the police. Siya lang yung nagbigay ng dignity na magkaroon man lang ng enough funds na mabubuhay ng maayos ang mga military. Ininkrisan niya yung kanilang pensyon. Ginawa niya yung indexation. So, I mean, you are steering the hornet's nest, Mr. Abante, and Mr. Anong pangalan nito? Yung driver ng tricycle na naging congressman na ngayon? O driver ng motor. Kasi joyride daw yung... Anong pangalan nitong party list? Joyride?
Nakiki-joyride sila sa
Joyride.
ICC.
Nakakahiya naman itong... Well, I don't know. I presume, being a very good leader, itong ating butihing Speaker of the House, I don't think susuwayin niya yung, hindi naman pwede sigurong mayroon silang secret deal dyan, because these are people with dignity, no? Di ba? Ano
Hindi,
masasabi
saka
mo?
kontrasenyas it's against the current, even of logic. Na if you're a Filipino, why will you allow foreigners outside of your country
Pakinggan natin si President Duterte, partner.
to intervene?
Wala siyang pakialam. In fact, he's willing to die. If it is the will of the people, because kung sasabihin nila yung Congress is the representative of the people and the ICC will be allowed, the president, the former president, is willing to die and he will sacrifice his life to serve this country. He had eradicated drugs. At ngayon, napakatindi na naman ang drugs sa ating bansa. So if that is the reason na himukin siya ng ICC, let it be. Let the people decide on that. Kung magkaroon ng
Repercussions.
repercussion yan, there's only one, baka mamaya, Bishop, hindi ka na paniwalaan ng mga congregation mo. Kasi sa mga pinaggagawa mo dyan. Okay. So, yun po, ang nakikita natin dyan. So, ito, pakinggan natin si Harry Roque, in representation of Duterte, and Duterte himself speaking.
Kahit itong ICC, bullshit itong, I will not, why would I defend or face an accusation before white people. You must be crazy. Yung mga kalumang colonizers ito noon, they have not atoned for their sins against the countries that they invaded, including the Philippines. Tapos ito ngayon sila, they're trying to set up a court outside our country and making us liable to face them. Walang alam ng batas. Our laws are different. Our criminal procedure is very different. How are you supposed to get justice there? Ako, magharap ng mga puti, let's say kayo. Ganyan akong I will readily face a court being accused in a Philippine court before a Filipino judge. Huwag nila akong lalo na yung prosecutor yung I do not want to insult.
So, mga kababayan, ito po ang sinasabi ng ating dating Pangulo. O yun po ang sinasabi ng ating dating Pangulo. Na he will not be investigated, he will not be facing a court that is not Filipino. A court that is being operated by white people, alien. He would rather die than face an alien court. So, yun po ang sinasabi ng ating dating Pangulo. So, I don't think the people of this country would allow a very popular president, a very loved president as President Duterte, be shamed by the public. Oo, yun po. Ganun po ang mangyayari dyan. At mga kababayan, ito po ang opinion ng dating spokesman ng ating Pangulo, si Harry Roque. Ito po yung sinasabi niya tungkol dyan sa jurisdiction ng ICC over our country. Over the case against the war on drugs. Ito po.
Did the Marcos administration, did this government have to ask the ICC to suspend the probe, considering we are not members of the ICC, and we've often said that the ICC has no jurisdiction? So it sends us a confusing message. If we say we're not members, they have no jurisdiction, why are we writing to them to ask for a suspension?
Well, Karen, I am from counsel to President Duterte.
Yeah.
And the International Criminal Court is not intended to be an interstate court. No? It is intended to prosecute individuals, and there will be a judgment based on individual criminal responsibility. And my position as counsel for the president is that the court does not have jurisdiction, first, because of the principle of complementarity. No? It is supposed to be a court of last recourse, and as we know, Philippine courts are able and willing to act on the cases that complainants may file against former President Duterte, especially since he is now out of office and without any immunity. What I'm saying is there is now a point where, as President Duterte's counsel, we now have to assert that this is an issue of individual criminal responsibility. We appreciate, of course, the effort of the state to file whatever it is that they feel is proper to put an end to the investigation. But President Duterte has made it clear, do what you want. You will never have jurisdiction over his person. And of course, we have always maintained that we will uphold Philippine sovereignty, that he will only face criminal prosecution before a domestic court.
And Attorney Roque, you don't think that the government's petition to the ICC weakens the argument on your end that they have no jurisdiction? In other words, do you think the Philippine government actually weakened the argument for you?
I don't think so, because as I said, the Solicitor General is in a very awkward position now, because this is a court involving individual criminal responsibility. I don't even know what standing the Philippine government would have, but of course
Yes.
we welcome it because it could be successful. No, but for our purposes, we've maintained that we will not recognize the jurisdiction of the court, and so be it.
That's a very good point right there that you've just said. Number one, former President Duterte is no longer president, right? So he's no longer in power. So the accusations against him are more of a personal nature, right? To his person. You're right. What is the personality of the state to file this petition for him?
Well, I think you would have to ask the Solicitor General for that,
Oo.
because we have been very consistent. We are not precluding entering an appearance to question, for instance, where we get to the point where there are confirmation of charges, no? Because it's a matter of right, when there's confirmation of charges, there would already be individuals specifically impleaded, no? And information will be filed against specific individuals, and at that point, we will make an entry in the court itself to question the jurisdiction of the court. But as of now, there's not been any individual indicted. And the Philippine government, of course, does not stand indicted because you cannot prosecute states before the International Criminal Court.
Okay, but then you had former President Duterte just recently, I know in a program with Apollo Kibuloy, Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, he was saying na handa siyang magpakulong, handa niyang harapin. Tama ito, attorney?
Yes, for as long as it is before a Philippine court. No? Ang punto nga po is now that he no longer has immunity, people should file all the cases that they want to file against him. And he has said he will face them in court, Philippine courts, and if he's found guilty, then he will go to jail.
So, mga kababayan, yung sinabi ni dating Pangulong Duterte at ito naman yung issue na tinatanong ni Davila, who is always wrong in her questions. Hindi pinag-aralan yung mga dinadaldal, mali-mali naman yung point na yon. Kasi this is an individual allegations. An allegation against an individual perpetuating crime against humanity. Hindi naman yung state as of now is the defendant. Kaya itong si Guevara, akala niya, kaya nga, on one occasion, sinabi natin dito sa programa natin, na hindi ko maintindihan, sinasabi dati ni E.S. Medaldia na bright ito, tinanong ko nga si E.S., bakit pinayagan itong Guevara na mag-question tungkol dito na wala naman siyang pakialam na kay Duterte. He's no longer the Secretary of Justice of Duterte. He's now the Solicitor General of the administration of Marcos, which is not related to the case in the ICC. Yeah? Nakialam to si Guevara at mali-mali yung ginagawa. Lumabas tuloy na parang nag-waive ng jurisdiction when in fact it was not the state is not a party here. It's the individual that is being accused of a criminal offense against those who have died under the war on drugs. Kaya tama si Secretary Roque na the president in his own personal capacity will face any of this accusation against him. Now that he has no more immunity, he will face any case in any court. As long as, sinabi na nga ni Pangulong Duterte, as long as in any court
Philippines.
that is within the jurisdiction of the Philippines, under the Philippine justice system. So, yun po. So, going back doon sa mga kengkoy na nag-file ng resolution, Covadis, sir, sana magbunga yung resolution nyo that will steer the hornet's nest at magkagulo itong bansa ninyo dahil sa hindi nyo pinag-aralan yung mga pinaggagawa nyo. pagka nagkagulo ang bansa dahil people will will rise in arms or will rise in to defend President Duterte, kayo rin. Ha? Kasi ini-small time na ninyo si Duterte. Dati nagsisip-sip kayo sa kanya, ngayon ini-small time nyo na dahil hindi na presidente. Tingnan natin kung ano ang sunod na kabanata. Magandang hapon po. Anong last statement mo, pare?
Well, definitely, ang solidarity ng mga tao behind President Duterte masusubukan dito. At sige, sabi nga niya, di ba? Gawin niyo ang gusto niyo and I will face the music provided walang foreign intervention. Yan.
Okay. So, yun po. Ngayong hapon, mga kababayan.